Thank you, Chairman Powell, for your testimony today. This week, you stated that the Fed will, quote, stay the course until the job is done, and that is to restore price stability. This is positive, but you know as well as I do, you're facing a very strong headwind from the political left. Democrats are pressuring the Fed to stray from its narrow mandate. It's a page out of their same old progressive playbook. When they don't have the votes to achieve something here in Congress, they turn to regulators. And now, Chair Powell, they're looking at you and the Federal Reserve. President Biden's kowtowing to the far left is what got us into this inflationary mess. I urge you to reject the ideologues who put their social agenda ahead of economic prosperity. High prices continue to eat away at workers' wages and retirees' incomes. Since President Biden took office, we've experienced inflation at rates not seen since the late 70s and early 80s. Inflation rapidly accelerated after Democrats passed their so-called American Rescue Plan, which poured nearly $2 trillion of inflationary fuel into the economy. By June of last year, the Consumer Price Index showed inflation skyrocketed from below 2% to nearly 9%. And personal consumption expenditures, the Fed's preferred measure of consumer prices, ballooned to 7%. Instead of being rescued by Democrats, Americans were punished with pain at the grocery store and sticker shock at the pump. While inflation is now below its mid-2022 peak, it is persisting at rates well above the Fed's target. It remains broad-based and continues to hammer Americans' pocketbooks. In fact, a recent Gallup poll shows half of the respondents say they are worse off financially than a year ago. It's clear that there's still a long way to go in the effort to bring down costs. I look forward to hearing you reaffirm your commitment to that work today. Republicans also want to hear from you regarding some concerning developments at the Federal Reserve on the regulatory front. Recently, the Federal Reserve's Vice Chair for Supervision announced a quote-unquote holistic review of bank capital in the Fed's regulatory regime. However, it seems that only a small group within the Fed knows what this means, what it entails, how much review is being vetted by the full board, and the type of quantitative analysis the Fed is performing. The Fed shouldn't operate in the shadows, especially when the regulation in question can have broad and significant economic effects. It's also unclear the motivation for the Fed's holistic review, particularly when so many board members have stated that the banking system is very well capitalized, and any review of capital standards should be targeted. It also appears the Federal Reserve Board is laying the groundwork for climate policy to be implemented through the Fed regulation with an opening salvo to quote-unquote scenario analysis. Addressing an issue like climate change is important, but a policy that should originate here in Congress by the elected representatives of the people, not the central bank. As you've said, the Fed needs to stick to its knitting. I agree. There is concern from many that the Fed is picking up new needles and knitting partisan sweaters. At such a precarious time for our economy here at home and the global economy, that would be a mistake. Thank you for being here today. I look forward to your testimony and the questions by our members.